Hello everyone. So here today we are going to discuss about total internal reflection. So that is TIR concept used in optical fibers and optical fiber waveguide. That let us look into the structure of optical fiber waveguide, acceptance angle, and numerical aperture. So total internal reflection. So if the angle of reflection, already we have seen what is reflection and what is refraction, what is critical angle. So based on the same concept extending here, if angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence, so theta 1 equal to theta 2 or phi 1 equal to phi 2, then we can consider that that is a total internal reflection of the beam. So angle of reflection and the angle of incidence will remain same. So if I consider total internal reflection, that is the one which leads to propagation of waves in the optical fiber. So only with total internal reflection, the optical signal or the light waves propagate in the fiber without any problems. So total internal reflection can be observed only in the material in which the velocity of light is less than in air. So that is what we have to consider. So whenever we consider the materials to exhibit total internal reflection, its velocity of light in that particular medium should be less than in air. So that is what we have to consider. And this is the formation of total internal reflection within a medium. So here we see that N1 and N2, and here we see that phi and phi. So that is angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So which is making the total internal reflection where theta is equal to theta. Here phi is equal to phi. So angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. And if I consider the transmission of light in a perfect optical fiber, we can see that high index core is available for a fiber with the low index cladding defined as N1 and N2. And whenever the light is incident onto the core surface, it gets reflected back into the core, striking the cladding and reflecting back into the core. So this cladding will be the interfacing surface such that the light gets reflected back into the same medium, forming an angle which is same as the angle of incidence, which is the total internal reflection. So for proper or for efficient propagation of waves into the optical fiber core, the total internal reflection has to happen. So here we have to consider two conditions which are actually necessary for total internal reflection to occur. One is the refractive index of the first medium must be greater than the refractive index of the second. So the refractive index of the first medium is normally a core, and the refractive index of the second medium should be lesser than the refractive index of the first medium, which is cladding. So we take N1 greater than N2. If N1 is the refractive index of the core and N2 is the refractive index of the cladding. And the angle of incidence must be greater than or equal to the critical angle. So this is what the second condition which has to be satisfied for total internal reflection. The angle of incidence must be greater than or equal to the critical angle. Then optical fiber as a waveguide. So if I consider the structure of the optical fiber, we see that we have three different layers. One is the external coating. Here we see that it's the external coating, which is an insulator or insulating layer or outer protective layer. And we have the inner layer, which is cladding, and to that inner part we have a core. So whatever light is going to be propagated in a fiber, so that is through this particular core layer. So optical fiber as a waveguide, if I consider, it is a hollow structure which is having core and a cladding as a surface. And when there is only one path for light to follow, then it is a single mode propagation. So whenever only one path of light is propagating, then we say that it's a single mode operation. And whenever there is more than one path which is propagating in a fiber, it is a multi-mode propagation. So this is what we consider in a type of in a fiber like propagation, single mode propagation and multi-mode propagation. So in a single mode propagation, only one path for light travels or propagates, whereas in multi-mode there are multiple paths. So if I look into the single mode structure, single fiber structure, a single fiber structure is like this, which is as shown in this particular diagram. And what does it consist? It consists of a solid dielectric cylinder with a radius A, so which is nothing but the core area, and A represents the radius of the core, and this cylinder is called as a core of the fiber. So we consider the core radius, and it is taken as A, and it is the core of the fiber. And the core is usually surrounded by a dielectric, and it is called as a cladding. So the core is always surrounded by a dielectric, and it is called as cladding. Then the index of refraction is slightly greater than the index of refraction of cladding. So the index of refraction of core is always greater than the index of refraction of cladding. So glass fiber is a core, so that it is greater than the refraction of a cladding. If the refractive index of the core or a glass fiber is N1 and the refractive index of the cladding is N2, then N1 will be always greater than N2. So that is the condition which has to be satisfied or which has to be met. Then we look into the propagation of light in an optical fiber. So if I consider the first concept of single mode propagation, we see that this is a core and this is a cladding. And light ray which is entering the optical fiber, so this is the input to the optical fiber core, and this is the output from the optical fiber. So this is the optical signal launched into the fiber or coupled into the fiber, and this is the optical light which is the output from the fiber. So here we can see that this is a cladding with lesser refractive index in comparison with the core. So here we can see that this is a cladding and this is a core. Outer layer we have an insulating layer or the protective layer. And this is the core diameter. Core diameter, we can see that it is represented by A, and the size of the core diameter which supports single mode propagation is 62.5 micrometer. Similarly, the diameter of the cladding is 125 micrometer. So this is how the core and the cladding is designed for single mode operation or single mode propagation of light into the optical fiber. And ray propagation by total internal reflection. So here we can see that this is a cladding part, this is the core part, and whatever the signal is incident on the incident surface, which is a interfacing surface between these two mediums, that is air and the core. Now, we'll just look into the acceptance angle. Earlier we have discussed about critical angle. Critical angle is normally taken to be the minimum angle, and acceptance angle is taken as the maximum angle. So, applying Snell's law to the external incidence angle. So, again we are going with the Snell's law applicable to this particular optical fiber, considering the incidence angle. N naught sine theta naught is equal to N1 sine theta 1, or N naught sine phi naught equal to N1 sine phi 1. So this is the angle in the incident angle in the air medium, and this is the angle formed in the core medium. Now we know that phi 1 is equal to 90 degree minus the critical angle. So as we have already discussed that earlier. Uh, so based on that, we are going to apply this in this particular equation. So sine of phi 1 will be equal to sine of 90 minus phi c. So just applying sine angle on both the sides of this particular equation. So we get sine of 90 minus angle. So sine of 90 minus angle will change the function to cos, that is cos of a particular angle. So sine of 90 minus the critical angle will be equal to cos of the critical angle. So now we substitute sine of this angle, which is the angle formed in the fiber core, by cos of the critical angle. So I just replace this, n naught into sine phi naught is equal to n1 into this, which is cos of phi c. So sine theta naught will be equal to n1 by n2 into cos of phi naught. So we already know that what is sine in terms of cos. So based on that, I have just replaced that sine of theta naught will be equal to n1 into cos of phi theta c or phi c. And n naught is 1, so we just replace that later. Now applying Pythagoras theorem to this particular right angle triangle which is formed from the optical fiber mediums, core and the outer air medium. So cos of an angle will be equal to square root of n1 square minus n2 square by n1. That is this opposite side by the hypotenuse. So hypotenuse is n1 and opposite side is square root of n1 square minus n2 square. Next again, sine of a particular angle will be equal to n1 by n2 into this, because sine of this angle will be equal to n1 by n0 into cos of an angle phi naught, which is from the previous equation. So I have just substituted what is cos of phi naught in terms of n1 and n2. So sine of phi naught will be equal to square root of n1 square minus n2 square by n0. So just cancelling n1 and replacing n naught by n naught here only. So phi naught will be equal to sine inverse of this particular equation, square root of n1 square minus n2 square by n naught. But we know that n naught is the refractive index of the medium A, which is equal to 1. So substituting that, phi naught will be equal to sine inverse of square root of n1 square minus n2 square. So the maximum value of external incidence angle for which the light will propagate in a fiber. So normally when we say acceptance angle, it is also defined as the maximum angle of external incidence. So that is what we define here. It is the maximum value of external incidence angle for which the light will propagate in the fiber. So this is the maximum angle, and that is equal to sine inverse of square root of n1 square minus n2 square by n naught. When the light ray enters the fiber from an air medium, n naught will be equal to 1. It's a known term that n naught is the refractive index of the air, which is equal to 1. So just applying that, this equation changes to phi naught max, which is the acceptance angle, equal to sine inverse of square root of n1 square minus n2 square. So the angle phi naught is called as an acceptance angle, which is a maximum angle, and it defines the maximum angle in which the light ray may incident on fiber to propagate down the fiber. So this is what we define as an acceptance angle. It is the maximum angle in which the light ray may incident on a fiber to propagate down the fiber. So this is an acceptance angle definition. So this is the expression for the acceptance angle. So if we know the refractive index of core and cladding, we can find what is the maximum angle, or we can find what is the acceptance angle. Or if the acceptance angle for a fiber is given and n1 is given, n2 can be easily determined, and vice versa. So this is what we do to find the acceptance angle. Then we go with the theoretical concept of acceptance cone. So here we can see that with the diagram we see that this is the maximum angle which is formed like a cone. So we consider it as an acceptance cone. So figure shows the formation of acceptance cone of a fiber cable or a fiber. So here we can see that this is the acceptance cone. This is the maximum angle. And here we can see that there is a reflection which happens, and some of the signals or light ray is entering the cladding surface instead of reflecting back into the core. So normally this ray will be lost by radiation. So this is nothing but radiation, where the light ray is radiated out of the cladding. Instead of remaining in the fiber core, the information is lost in the form of light. So due to radiation. So this is what we consider normally in the acceptance core. Then a very important concept of numerical aperture. So we can define this numerical aperture in numerous ways. First thing, if I just go with the basic definition of a numerical aperture, it is the width of the fiber core. It is the width of the fiber core which allows maximum amount of light to propagate through it. So this is what it is considered to be. It is the width of the fiber core where it can accept maximum amount of light which can enter. So that is what the numerical aperture is defined as. So the numerical aperture can also be defined in other way, like the numerical aperture of a fiber is a figure of merit which represents its light gathering capability. So light gathering capability is nothing but the width of the fiber core. So the amount of light entering the optical fiber mainly depends on the width or area of the fiber core. So if the numerical aperture is less, it means that the width of the fiber core is very small. In such case, more amount of light cannot enter the optical fiber core. It means such fibers cannot carry more information. So that is what is considered. Then, larger the numerical aperture, the greater the amount of light accepted by the fiber. So it is known if the numerical aperture is large, then the amount of light which is accepted by the fiber is more. So we'll consider the refraction at the air and core interface and apply the Snell's law so that we can easily determine what is the numerical aperture or the equation for determining the numerical aperture. So here we can see that. So this is a diagrammatical representation what I have taken where the ray path for a meridional ray launched into the optical fiber in air at an input angle less than the acceptance angle of the fiber. So this is what we consider. This is the air medium and this is the core medium. And we see that n0 sine theta 1 will be equal to n1 sine theta 2. So this is what the information is all about. So applying Snell's law by considering this as the interfacing surface, this as a core and this as a medium. Then I will just apply the Snell's law and considering this as a right angle triangle ABC. So this right angle triangle ABC is considered. So considering that, I can say that this angle is equal to 90 degree minus this angle because this is a right angle triangle. So if I know one angle, I can find the other angle. So based on that, I'll just get equation 2.2. And where theta is greater than the critical angle at the core cladding interface, I can say that the equation changes to n0 sine theta 1 is equal to n1 into sine theta 2 changes to cos of angle phi. So this changed to cos of an angle phi. So now using the trigonometric relationship sine square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1, then the equation can be reduced to n0 into sine theta 1 is equal to n1 into 1 minus sine square theta to the power half. So I am just replacing cos square theta in terms of sine square theta. So here if I consider cos square theta, which is the basic trigonometric identity usage of sine square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1, I can find what is sine square theta or what is cos square theta. So here in this equation, I want to replace cos by sine. So cos square theta will be equal to 1 minus sine square theta, or cos theta will be equal to 1 minus sine square theta, or cos theta will be equal to square root of 1 minus sine square theta, which is nothing but 1 minus sine square theta to the power half. Now if I consider the total internal reflection to be considered, then the angle phi will become equal to the critical angle phi c at the core cladding interface. So that if I consider that n0 is the refractive index of the medium air, it is 1, and sine of an angle can be replaced by sine of a critical angle based on this limiting case of total internal reflection. So in such case, I will just replace sine theta by n2 by n1. So if I replace this n by n2 by n1, it is 1 minus n2 by n1 the whole square, whole to the power half into n1. So if I consider that n1, so n0 sine theta a is equal to 1 minus n2 by n1 the whole to the power half. So this has changed to, by taking the LCM of the denominator and simplification, we get n1 square minus n2 square to the power half. And this is the maximum angle, which is theta 1, which becomes the acceptance angle of the fiber. So replacing that, I'll get n0 into sine theta a will be equal to n1 square minus n2 square to the power half. Hence, I can say that the numerical aperture is equal to this n0 into sine theta a, which is equal to n1 square minus n2 square to the power half. So this is what we define. Then, since the numerical aperture is used with the fiber in a air, where n0 is unity, it is equal to sine theta a. So I can say that sine theta a equal to numerical aperture. So I can find theta a, which is the acceptance angle, if a numerical aperture is known. So that theta a will be equal to sine inverse of numerical aperture. So this is how we determine an expression for numerical aperture using n1, n2 critical angle and acceptance angle. So this is how we define the equation for numerical aperture. Then we have to relate it with delta. So we have to find the relation between numerical aperture and delta. So what exactly is this delta? Delta is defined as the relative refractive index difference. So delta is the relative refractive index difference. So I can relate it with numerical aperture. So what is this delta? So delta is the difference between n1 and n2, but not the exact difference. It is a relative refractive index difference. Those two are the refractive indices, that is n1 and n2. So I want to find the relative refractive index relative refractive index difference, that is between n1 and n2, which is represented as delta, between the core and the cladding, because whenever I say n1 related to core, n2 related to cladding. So based on that, I can say that delta is equal to n1 square minus n2 square by 2n1 square. So this is the definition, or this is the relation between delta n1 and n2. So this delta will give us the relative refractive index difference. So that is equal to n1 minus n2 by n1 for delta value very much lesser than 1. So delta value is very much lesser than 1 if I consider the difference between two refractive indices n1 and n2. So based on that, I can say that delta is equal to n1 minus n2 by n1 if the value of delta is very much lesser than 1. So I'll just substitute this. You know that numerical aperture is given by sine of theta a, which is equal to square root of n1 square minus n2 square. So by considering that, I can combine the equation 2.6 and 2.7, what we have discussed earlier, so that numerical aperture and the delta relationship is established. So this is the relation between numerical aperture and delta. So that is numerical aperture is equal to, or approximately equal to, n1 into 2 delta to the power half. So this is the relation between delta and numerical aperture. But it is approximated to, this particular equation to 0.8, because considering the value of delta equal to n1 minus n2 by 2 n1 for a case where delta is very much smaller than 1. So this is how we define the numerical aperture relation with the relative refractive index difference delta.